Well over 400 years ago, the biggest fleet in Spanish naval history left the deadly waters of Galicia, A Coruña, northwest Spain, en route to overthrow Protestant England and restore Catholic dominance in Europe. Now, as everyone knows, the Spanish Armada was a complete failure. Would you have a look at rural Ireland? Unbelievable. I did not expect this. Off the coast here, there were 3 shipwrecks, one of the hundreds of ships that participated during the Battle of Gravelines way down in England. The coastal storms made them flee the Spanish ships, and they had to go all the way around Scotland, come around, and some of them were shipwrecked off here, and there were a few hundred survivors. In the words of Francisco Cuellar, one of the survivors, he said the waves just carried people, swept people away. The ship sank. Many of the people on the ship went down with it. Hundreds died, and a few hundred were lucky enough to survive, but they were met with savage Irishmen that were ready to strip them naked, steal anything they had, probably kill them. Now, if you think England was the arch enemy of Spain during that time, crazy now to think, because Europeans, we need to come together more than ever. Anyways, they were caught collaborating with Spanish, saving people. Of course, they would probably be executed back in the 1500s. So what does it have to do with today's video? Well, we're gonna go on a journey going from up here in Ireland to Great Britain, somewhere down in England, and then take a ferry with my good buddy Toby and sort of trace the route of that Spanish Armada, take a ferry ride and leave the English-speaking world and head back into the great Spanish-speaking world. My favorite. It's gonna be a fun adventure, so let's have fun, sit back, join me and relax, and let's go on a journey from Northern Ireland. Well, I've since left County Sligo near Northern Ireland, and I'm down in the country of England, specifically in the southwest corner. We have a really interesting house here that has something significant about it. Toby, the historian, he knows.
Built in the 15th century, this house was going to be scheduled for demolition in the early 60s, 1960s, and they jacked it up and moved the house from its original position to this position. Now that might be something which is familiar to you guys in America, but here in the UK, that is an extremely rare thing to do. You see, the house is built on a foundation of brick, even though the main structure of the house is made of wood. British houses, English houses are built of brick, not of wood.
Can any of you guys guess where we are? We are in the city of Exeter.
In Devon.
In Devon. So part of our journey before we catch the ferry tomorrow is seeing a few places.
Yeah, I'm walking around the city.
What I like about this area is it's not like Birmingham, it feels like England.
And look here at the street. You can just imagine, you know, here the gully in the middle of this old pebbled street. You can imagine the windows here and people emptying their chamber pots. Their chamber pots is their toilets, out of the window and into the middle of the street, and all of the refuse going down the hill.
Oh my God, that would have been a shitstorm.
Yes.
Hey guys, can you tell me about what you're doing today?
Having a walk.
You having a walk? All right. All right. Nice to meet you.
Hi.
Here in the southwest corner, when it starts raining.
Hiya.
Yeah, hey ya.
Hi, buddy.
How's Exeter? Tell us about it.
Very good.
Everybody runs to the shopping center. I always wanted to see an Englishman pouring tea.
A cup of tea. One of the biggest questions is, do you put the milk in first, or do you put the tea in? And actually the real way is to put the milk in first and then the tea afterwards. The reason for that was so that the hot tea didn't crack the delicate porcelain of the china cup.
So I was expecting us to find some crates of tea that we could just dump over and start a new revolution here in England.
I thought we might start turning over the tables and throwing the chairs at each other, and just, you know, sort of generally rebelling against the high taxes that the British government are currently charging us.
What's life like in Exeter?
Shit, mate. Shit.
No, go back. Go back to where you were, mate. It's horrible, yeah.
Yeah?
No, actually, it's not. It's the people in it.
But it looks really nice.
Yeah, the Exeter is lovely. It's just the people.
Listen, the world seems to be more chaotic than ever right now. Social media and algorithms have taken a massive control over how we think, feel, perceive emotions. And I admit, personally speaking, the algorithm has also influenced my life, and not always for the better. I know that I'm not alone. I know people that watch these style of videos also are more likely to click on negative headlines, negative videos, controversial topics. It's just sort of how humans are. And of course, this is likely to affect your mental health as it affects mine. And that's why I've been seeing a therapist with BetterHelp, the paid sponsor of this video. A therapist will listen, ask questions, and give you different perspectives that someone close to you might not be able to do. In my case, my therapist gives me advice and new techniques how to manage this ever-changing world that we're living in. If you fill out a questionnaire using my special link, BetterHelp will match you with a credentialed therapist as soon as possible. Easily switch therapists anytime at no extra cost if it's not the right fit. With over 7,000 reviews and a 4.3 star rating on Trustpilot, BetterHelp is a platform you can trust. Click the link in the description or go to betterhelp.com/adventureelliot to get 10% off on your first month of therapy. All right, guys, back to the journey in Spain.
Can you tell me about your car?
It's a Morgan freewheeler. That Morgan started making these in the early 1900s, and then they stopped for a bit after the 1950s, and they started making them again in 2012 to 2021. And this is one of the first of the last batch, if you like. They stopped making them again now.
Yeah, you can't really drive this around for too much longer.
Well, you can drive it around, yeah. I will be on the road for a bit, about 2,000.
2,000 cc.
Just under. Yeah, it's an S&S American engine. It used to be a Jap engine, the first ones, but it's just for fun. It's just, there's not too many of them around.
They could only find 2,000 nutters like you to sell them to.
But everyone, if you ever watch the reviews, everyone says the same thing. This is the most ridiculous car, but you'll never grin so much. And
Absolutely.
the kids love it. The kids will wave. And, yeah, it's just fun.
These pirates belong to the RLNA.
Yeah. Royal National Lifeboat Association. They rescue anybody who's in danger in the sea, which of course around here is fishermen. A bit up the coast in Dover, it's the migrants.
Hopefully they don't find out I'm Spanish.
No, hung-drawn and quartered.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm surrounded by British pirates.
I don't think.
We be pirates. We rob, pillage, plunder. You name it.
I only learned to read a day ago. It's all a bit funny. What's that?
It's a microphone. Have you seen this?
It looks like a really thick coin.
It's a piece of 8.
Oh, a piece of 8. Thank you.
Captain Hook.
How you doing?
It's either Captain Hook or he's the Ayatollah Khomeini.
No, definitely Captain Hook.
All right, so this is gonna go across Spain. Don't know what to expect.
Here we go.
What should we expect?
We need to put a name for her. We need to
Baby Blue. We didn't expect to be surrounded by Horatio Nelsons or Sir Francis Drake's corsairs.
Or even Long John Silver's.
If only they knew I was a Spanish pirate, double agent. Okay guys, we're at a secret location, but finally I'm trying the national dish of England, or the UK, right?
Absolutely.
When did this become the national dish, and what year?
It was in the 90s.
Very recent, this year.
This year? It's this year's national dish.
Yeah.
But it's been the national dish.
It is Indian chicken curry.
In chicken curry.
And it's become the national dish here because I used to have it every other day. Because I had an Indian guest, Ashwani, lodged with me for 5 months.
This is my first English home. It's not very old, but it's very quaint and welcoming. So
8 years.
8 years old. Let's give it a go. Good morning. I slept very well at this beautiful modern English house. And now we're gonna have some breakfast before we hit the road, but it's nice to see beautiful English countryside. This was actually farmland and clean, very clean here.
Good morning. So this is my attempt for English breakfast for them this morning. So we have the air fryer and we've done the sausages. Sausages are done in the air fryer.
Ooh, wow.
As is some of the bacon.
Wow.
But we've got a little bit of bacon in here to create a nice little bit of fat to cook the mushrooms in. And tomatoes from the garden. So that's all good. Plus, of course, we have to have eggs. The other thing we used to do was go down to the beach and we'd collect cockles and mussels and bring them home, and Mum would put them in salty water, open them and clean them, and then boil them, and we'd eat them. They were gorgeous. And we used to do the same with laver, which is seaweed. collect a version of seaweed, and she'd bring that home and cook that, and that was gorgeous. But you wouldn't do any of that these days, not collect from the sea, because you wouldn't know what else you were getting with it. Because I mean, Southwest water is disgusting what they put in the sea. Most of it is sewage outlets. You don't want to eat anything like that from the beach now.
It's a shame.
It's criminal, really. Yeah.
You got a green thumb.
Oh, green fingers, they say, isn't it? Lovely. Oh, my mum and dad were almost self-sufficient because my mum did catering. So she was in the Wrens, in the Royal Navy, catering. This was in the war, and dad went in the RAF. And so we used to check the aircraft before they went out over Germany and wherever, and he would check all the bombs were loaded on properly.
Yeah.
And all that, and off they go. My dad, the closest thing he came to being killed was when he was walking around on the airfield there, and one of the aircraft was loaded, ready to go, but the bomb wasn't loaded on properly, and it dropped off. 5,000 pounder, and bang! And so, yeah, he escaped that one. And Mum came out of Exeter station and just missed the bomb being dropped, so that was the closest she ever came.
Hola amigos, welcome back to Spain. Let's check out the beautiful country. Gosh, I miss this place.
What are you talking about, mate? This ain't Spain, this is England. Plymouth. It's Plymouth Hoe. We're not left there yet. We'll be there
Wait,
soon.
Plymouth as in the land of my ancestors?
The land of your ancestors, where the Mayflower set sail for the Americas.
Wow, look at Plymouth. Beautiful Plymouth. The ferry's around here somewhere, we gotta catch it, but we gotta learn about El Draque primero. So let's go talk about...
El Pirata, El Draque.
He's not a pirate, he's a hero.
No, he was a pirate. According to the Spanish, he was El Draque, the pirate.
Toby here and I have a strange Anglo-Hispanic connection.
Sí, hablamos español.
So, Tony, what's your last name?
Toby, for a start, it's Balian. It rhymes with galleon or stallion.
And I'm Elliot Smith, which rhymes with crisps. Anyways, we live in Spain and we share that passion for Spain and the Anglo world. But tell us about the history, briefly, of the seaside towns all along Britain's coast and how they were famous and sort of what's happened to them.
The British invented the railway in the Industrial Revolution, and as soon as the railway was invented, this was a mass form of transport for the masses, so they could come to the seaside resorts and enjoy the sea. I do like to be beside the sea is a famous song, but they used to come to Scarborough, to Blackpool, to Bognor, to
Clacton-on-Sea,
Plymouth, yeah, Torquay. All of these very famous seaside resorts were used by Britons before the age of the mass airline, which was really the mid-60s.
AKA Jet 2 Holidays.
Jet 2 Holidays, yeah, 2E Holidays, or even the package tour. And in those days, it was Thomas Cook. You don't just book it, you Thomas Cook it. And Thomas Cook would take people all over the world. Of course, Thomas Cook has now gone the way of much of the British Empire. And the package tour opened up places like Spain, the southern coast of Spain.
So now we have Benidorm, the last great British city, and places like Gibraltar, which...
Torremolinos, Torremolinos.
And Malaga, and Tenerife, and Gran Canaria, and...
So this year we're off to sunny Spain. Y viva España.
One thing us Americans and Brits share is these war memorials that I assume we got from you guys.
The war memorial here commemorates the death of both the First and Second World Wars. And it's a common sight in all of the English towns and villages throughout the whole of Great Britain. The poppy represents that from the British Legion for Remembrance Day on the 11th of November. And one thing that we should say is up here, we have Britannia. Rule, Britannia, Britannia rules the waves. We shall never, never, never be slaves. That should be a message that we give to Kistama the wanker. Kistama the wanker.
Hey man, we just alienated 0.005 of my you know, audience because no one likes Keir Starmer.
Keir Starmer.
And oh, how I planned. I'm standing up.
Well, guys, we spent 2 days in base Birmingham. Wow. Traditional conservative Muslim values there. Now we're down in the wonky, woke parts of England, as we saw yesterday in Exeter and here in Plymouth. Well, guys, look, the defeat of the Spanish Armada. So after Sir Francis Drake was able to defend England and the Queen, the British Empire went into ascendance and the Spanish Empire went into descendance. Years later, 500 years later, this is the legacy of the British Empire right here. The greatest empire that ever was. On we go.
Any lane there?
This is an awfully big ferry. All the Englishmen, per usual, are having their beer skis. They're ready to go to Spain. Anyways, this is what it looks like. The cost was, for the car and 2 passengers, £487, so over 500 euros, plus £100 for this double room. I am excited to show you. All right, this is what you get. 21-hour ferry. If it weren't for this, it would be miserable, but we'll be able to sleep. Toby's sleeping here. I get the top bunk. Not bad. Let's fold it down. All right. The only bad part is that Toby's a stage 5 snorer. Very nice bathroom. Shower. Everything is good. Listen, man, this place is packed with Brits. These guys are ready to get out. They're ready to get out of Britain. They're ready to go to Spain.
Can't wait to go to Spain.
Are you ready to go to Spain?
Oh, yeah.
Why is that? Why are you guys going?
We're going motorcycling in Almira.
Almeria.
Yeah.
All right.
Almeria.
So you want some warm weather and some nice roads. And you can't really, motorcycle in England is hit or miss.
The weather's bad and the roads, there's too many people.
And it's expensive.
Very.
Cigarettes are cheaper here.
Yeah, they're far cheaper. In Spain, they're even cheaper. In actual Spain itself, it's £5.
And Gibraltar, it's even cheaper.
And in the UK, those would be £16, £17.
Really?
Yes, really.
What is happening?
Thank you, young man. You have a good trip.
All right, you too. May I please have an IPA?
Yeah, a pint of?
Yes, please. This is it's a French company.
Yeah, it's French company, Britannic company.
€6, 50 cents. That's cheaper than any pub I've been to outside of Wetherspoons. Oh my God. What a bargain. €6. But cheers, everyone. We're finally leaving England. I'm a bit relieved. I'm ready to get back to good weather. I had a great time here. Met lovely people. Truthfully, I like England. I like British people. I connect with them as an American, but this is a stressful place a bit, you know?
I can't wait to get back to my home in Tenerife.
Yeah, and Toby lives on a freaking island, so I don't blame him for wanting to get back. Wow, guys. Look at everybody, man. Oh, there's even a lecture on sea life.
They group together for safety in numbers.
Check this out.
But because they group together, the whale can then open its mouth and swallow them all up all at once.
Good morning from rainy and windy, almost Santander. I can see the Muffin Palace over there, the Palacio de Magdalena. It's bringing back memories of hiking in northern Spain. Santander is absolutely stunning. You can just see it a little bit in the distance. So if I didn't tell you, you could guess that we are back in Latin America, perhaps Cuba. All these little towns nestled in here, this beautiful Spanish architecture common in all these agricultural villages in the north of Spain. And we have this green, lush palm trees that come from the Canary Islands and these old wooden balconies. Now, at the same time, the climate is just like where we left in England, but this is home to the Museum of the Indian Houses, las Casas Indianas. Vengo de Inglaterra, pero acabo de venir de Cuba y quiero saber si vosotros tenéis alguna relación con Cuba o Venezuela.
No, hubo mucho inmigrante aquí, sí. La casa del abuelo, que es de Cuba.
La mansión del abuelo ese es de Cuba.
Ese es cubano, ese de ahí arriba.
El dueño estuvo con Fidel, judío.
Madre mia. So at the peak of the Spanish Empire, places like Seville and Cadiz in the south of Spain had an absolute monopoly on trade coming from the Americas. But as colonies were being lost to War of Independence, trade opened up a bit, and places like Cuba would export tobacco, and places like northern Spain would import the tobacco leaves. And so it's only natural that a place like this that was very impoverished, we're out here in the forest, these villages emptied out, families, entire families went down to Cuba and Venezuela looking for opportunities, and those, a very small percentage that were lucky enough to strike gold and obtain wealth, they would come back to these villages, build these mansions, place a palm tree in front of it to represent that they made it back from the Indies, and so they got the name Casa de los Indianos.
United States, Mexico,
Peru, Cuba,
Argentina, Mexico, Chile, Puerto Rico, Cuba. What's missing?
Venezuela.
Venezuela is missing. Now, this would never be the same in the Canarios, because the Canaries Islands, Venezuela would be definitely a place where people would emigrate to.
No idea why they don't have Venezuela, because people from here to go to Venezuela, but
I'm sure they did.
we can see the combination of old and new. Now, a lot of these places here were coal mining areas, and then the coal would be shipped to places like Bilbao, where it would be turned into steel and exported. In fact, Bilbao was one of the only places that could compete during the Industrial Revolution with United Kingdom, not even close, but the rest of Spain was totally undeveloped and way behind in the Industrial Revolution. We're way up in the mountains now, on a mountain pass where in the winter, you better believe it snows. I don't think Toby knew much about this.
Never been here before, but we are high. We keep climbing higher and higher.
Landslide not too long ago. I guess it's quite common, but damn. Well, that looks controlled.
Yeah, but that's like a wall that was there before, and it's come over the wall.
They had to divert the motorway here. It was like this before. Man, these tunnels are something else.
These tunnels would have been built in the time of Franco, and I don't think that under the old regime of the king and the nobles and the peasants, this would have been anything like developed. So modern Spain has a huge legacy, I think, to the Franco era, even though obviously the Franco era is looked upon and despised by many.
Wow, just like that, the landscape has dramatically changed. It's no longer lush green, it's rocky and
autumnal.
Yeah. Passing the Cantabrian Cordillera.
It's rich here to the left of us.
Some crazy striations.
Fucking incredible.
And we're about to enter the central meseta and stay in an area that's still high, very high up. Wow, man, this is crazy. I've never been to parts like this in Spain. I thought I've seen it all, but I still haven't been to this area yet.
No, this does look like Scotland.
Well, we've made it to the cold meseta. It's September here, and it's 11 degrees Celsius. I cannot wait to get back down south. But look at León. As we enter the off season, it's absolutely empty. Now, León was the former capital of Castilla y León. This was a country before Spain that was filled with kingdoms. And we have a lion over here to show that. And this is also a city of gastronomy and tapas, hearty tapas. As it gets really cold here, they get a lot of snow. It might not stick a lot, but those mountains that we passed through to the north, those are some rough mountains, and it's also where one of the Camino de Santiago's, the pilgrimages, passes through, in particular the French way, the one that most people do. So let's go get some Spanish grub in León.
Hay una cosa muy importante, es el buen rollo de la gente.
Queremos farlopa.
Coca.
Vamos a pillar coca. Y compartimos.
En invierno, cuando hace muchísimo frío, ¿cómo mantenéis el calor juntos?
Así.
Pegadito,
Así.
pegadito.
Y así. Y así. Y así.
Ay, ay, ay.
Pues gracias.
Viva León y la gente de León, ¿eh? La gente leonesa.
Gracias.
Hasta luego. Toby, you're telling me you speak Spanish more fluent than me.
Yes.
And Toby didn't know what farlopa was.
That's because it's a Castellano Guiri.
And he lives on the islands. He speaks island Spanish. When you guys want to come to Spain to score some you know what? You say, dame falopa, por favor. Ezekiel. Aquí se come bien, eh?
Oh,
De puta madre, eh?
puta madre. Tú lo has dicho, he aprendido.
How do you know you're in the north of Spain? Look at all these packaged meats. Wow, cured meats. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. We have him on the plates here. He's cutting the ham there. We're in Christian lands. Let's get ourselves a glass of wine and score some tapas. All right, now this is artichokes and clams.
Mamma mia. Elliot, subita. Es bueno, De los Rioja es lo mejorcito.
All right, this guy's from Mallorca. He decided to give me his bottle of wine. That's how the Spanish people are, from the islands to the peninsula. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Hasta luego, yo.
Hasta luego.
Hasta luego.
Nos vemos.
I just got free wine. Free washing. Salud. Salud. All right, guys, this is black pudding but mashed up. Doesn't look the best, but I can guarantee you it tastes really good. In Spanish, morcilla. And last but not least, sirloin. Gee whiz, look at one for you, one for me. You gotta do it, Toby. Guess how much that dinner was? That was 4 big dishes, 2 glasses of wine and Coke, and 2 non-alcoholic beers for Toby. 94 euro. So I decided to welcome myself back to Spain and welcome you guys as well, because it's been a while since I made a video here. Have a canya, and look at it, even comes with a top up for 2 euros. So we'll see you guys on the road tomorrow. We're gonna keep going south to a new place that I've never been. So I'll see you guys in the morning. Good morning from sunny central Spain, the high meseta. Now in this region, we're always at around 700 meters. So even though it's still the tail end of summer here, it's quite cold. This is what it looks like. We have all these not abandoned, but low, densely populated towns and just vast fields where during the conquest of the Americas, they would round up grain, make bread, and then that's what they would eat as they went over to the Americas. And that's why they had lots of scurvy, no fresh veg and fruit across the Atlantic. But they would make stops down in Tenerife, where Toby lives. And so I wanted to let you guys know a little bit about Toby's background, because it's quite interesting. Toby, where were you born? Summarize, where were you born and brought up? And also talk about your grandfather and father just a little bit as we drive along through the beautiful plains here.
Well, I was born in Venezuela in the middle of the oil boom in the 1960s. It was a fantastic place. The richness and wealth in Venezuela was legendary. My father had been born in the Canary Islands in Tenerife, so he spoke Spanish. And after the Second World War, he was posted to South America, first of all to Ecuador and then Venezuela, with shell oil.
And where was your grandfather from?
And my grandfather, he was from the Falkland Islands. And although the Falkland Islands was British, because of his proximity to Argentina, he spoke pretty bad Spanish. That's why he ended up in the Canary Islands, because the Canary Islands were very isolated in those days, and he was used to isolated island life. So that made him an ideal candidate for running the fruit companies, British fruit companies in Tenerife. So he worked for Elders and Fifes, the banana people.
If you want to see that full story, check the video that we did at his rural northern Tenerife off-the-grid farm, which was a fascinating experience, and that's sort of how we met, because he found me via YouTube and we collaborated over that, and that was fun, and that's basically why we got back together. All right then, we've made it to Valladolid, former capital before Madrid. Beautiful downtown here, and as you saw back there, it's home to the KKK. I'm just kidding. Well, Valladolid actually has a very important part in Spanish empirical history. Colon came here, Christopher Columbus, after his 4th voyage, stripped of his wealth and all his privileges, and in 1506 he died. And about 15 minutes from here there's a museum of one of his houses where he was buried but later transported to, they say, Seville or the Dominican Republic. That's, you know, argued. But anyways, another important thing that happened here was one of the kings allowed a debate that basically argued how we should treat, or how the Spanish should treat, the indigenous populations with the brutal encomienda system. And Spain was actually very advanced in human rights for that time. Now, whether that was practice, the better treatment of the indigenous people, it was here that started that debate. And if you look at the modern day racial makeup of most of South America, you'll see a mixture of races. And that's because the Spanish mixed with the indigenous people. And of course, in North America, we see what is the legacy of the Native Americans, put on little lands, tribal lands, exterminated. And so we can often see that Spain was superior in the treatment of humans, but inferior in the economic development of the two worlds, between the Anglo and the Spanish world. And right here in Valladolid, you know, you see that old history. Also, Valladolid is home to one of the oldest universities in the world, over 700 years of existence. Places like Cambridge and Salamanca, southwest of here, are a little bit older. Other universities in Italy as well, but yeah, magnificent place here in Valladolid. So on we go to a new city.
Elliot.
How's it going, Pau? Nice to meet you, eh?
Nice to meet you too.
We're in this beautiful town outside of Madrid. You can't see how beautiful it is here, but there's a reason when you come back to Spain, you're just reinvigorated with energy and happiness and dopamine and delicious food. So we're gonna have a lunch. Just look at this. Sit out here, have a wine, a beer, enjoy the sun. This is Spain, you guys. And look at this. VIP wine and dining. Gracias. Well, well, well. Pork cheek and 2 pork shoulder for Toby. We eat like kings in Spain, as we've seen, so we're gonna dig in. During the peak of the Spanish Empire in the 16th century, the Habsburgs decided to build this in a show of Catholic dominance. The Spanish were the top of the world, bigger than the French, bigger than the English, and basically every royal king and queen since has been buried here in the mountains, nestled outside of Madrid. It is an absolute masterpiece, but we got to keep going, so I just wanted to point this out before we go now to the land of the conquistadores. Let's go. Let me give you guys a tip. When you come to Extremadura, the land of Iberian pigs, you have to get this. 2 coffees and this massive piece of toast with smeared tomato. Douse it with some olive oil, and Toby's gonna try it because down there in the Canary Islands, he gets it, but not as much as us in the peninsula.
It's a different type of jamon. Proper jamon serrano. That like melts in your mouth. It's so delicious.
Good morning from the statue of one of the most famous conquerors in Spanish and world history for that matter. This is Francisco Pizarro, the conqueror of Peru, which means we are in Trujillo, Extremadura, Spain, the land of conquerors. Now, Extremadura for centuries has been one of the most sparsely populated, absolutely desolate and very impoverished areas of Spain, and still to this day tourists don't come here all that often. Now, there is a city to the north called Cáceres where they did some filming for Game of Thrones, which of course has increased the tourism, but yeah, transport, trains, all those things are hard to come by in comparison with other regions of Spain, which makes it a lot more authentic and a place that I love. But as you see, they do a great job preserving the conquer history, because this is of course one of the most important parts of Spanish history. And if it weren't for these guys doing the absolute unthinkable, I wouldn't be speaking Spanish, you wouldn't be speaking Spanish, and over 20 countries in this world wouldn't be speaking Spanish. So whether it's good or bad, the conquest of the Americas, or colonization as the people, the wokies, like to claim today, colonization, we have to remember that Arabs conquered here, Romans conquered here, etc., etc. That is just basically the nature of humans. And you could even argue that today Europe is being conquered with ideology and politics. That's a different topic for discussion, but I just wanted to show you this lovely part of Trujillo. These towns are so authentic, they're untouched. They have the most friendly people, extremely hot in summer, extremely cold in winter. We're still high in elevation, but what you'll find in this area is a lot of sister cities with the names that you find in Latin America. For example, Medellin to the south, Medellin, Colombia. Merida to the south, we have Merida, Mexico, Merida, Venezuela, etc. So, all right, I've been talking too much. Let's get back on the road and see what life is like in the land of Spanish conquerors. ¿Qué me puedes contar de la historia de Extremadura y la conquista?
Pues que se largaron de aquí en un barco, aparecieron en América y con 2 huevos la conquistaron. Los españoles, los extremeños, se reunieron con las tribus que estaban allí, que estaban de estos subyugadas por los, o esclavizadas por los mayas
y las aztecas
o los aztecas, y se los cargaron. ¿Tú de dónde eres?
Estados Unidos.
Pues mira, quédate en Extremadura, que es lo mejor del mundo. Come bien, tranquilidad y buen clima.
Muy bien, muy bien. ¿Usted qué opina de la migración en España en general?
Que el que venga a trabajar aquí, bien recibido sea. Que se adapte a nuestras costumbres. Pero el que no se adapte a nuestras costumbres y sean unos delincuentes, a su puñetero país.
So as you can tell, the grandpas around here are very based. Man, what a character that guy was. He was born and raised in Catalonia, and of course, many of you know Catalonia has a separatist movement or whatever. He said, no, I am Spanish, and I always will be Spanish. What does a conqueror hotel from the 16th century in Extremadura get you for 40 euros? Well, it gets you some 16th century Spanish weapons. A crossbow. Look at this. If I touch that too hard, I'll draw blood. Let's check out the room. We have some swords, dual wield, some daggers, and a room. And this room smells really bad, to be honest, but 40 euros, I'll take it after England. You notice how these palm trees here, well, obviously they represent a warmer and sunnier climate. Here in the countryside, we're passing through little villages, and it's, you know, quite a difference between 2 days ago, right, Toby? We were in cold and bleak, dismal England. The north of Spain was also cold, chilling, I would say. So when you think of modern day Medellin in Mexico, you might think of beautiful landscapes, amazing gastronomy, friendly people, reggaeton, mamacitas, narcos, but you probably don't think of Medellin, Extremadura, Spain, the hometown of Hernán Cortés, the man that allied with the tribes around the Aztec players who hated the bloodthirsty Aztecs, and he was able to take them down. Really, it was a miracle because he was totally outnumbered, but if it wasn't for him, Mexico wouldn't be Mexico, and they wouldn't speak Spanish, they wouldn't have Catholicism, they wouldn't have all this European influence, and the world would be totally different today. And it all started with a poor man from a poor region betting on his life, taking a ship down to the Americas, betraying the monarch in Cuba, going off to Mexico and doing the improbable. And before I came to Spain, I would have never knew that it existed right here in this quaint little village with an amazing castle and Roman ruins behind it. Absolutely insane. Now, depending on who you speak to about the Spanish conquest, you'll get lots of different answers. If you speak to a British historian, an Anglo-Dutch historian, they did a really good job at tarnishing the reputation of the Spanish. That's called the Black Legend. If you speak to someone who's indigenous, full indigenous in the Americas, in Mexico, in the Amazon, etc., of course, they'll have the indigenous side, and they'll say that obviously it was bad that they were colonized. If you speak to people in Cuba and Venezuela, and other parts in Argentina, you'll get answers that say, yes, we are European. In fact, our recent waves in the 20th and 19th century were Spanish. There were peasants fleeing Spain. And so you cannot deny the connection of Europe, the indigenous, and the African culture all throughout Latin America. And that's really what makes it beautiful. If you speak to a university professor in the United States, you'll of course get that very biased professor response, the woke response of the institution's US education system, which people pay tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars to learn about. Myself, I studied there and I learned just how tarnished my mindset was, because I used to think Spain was a horrible place. I thought they were racist. I thought they were colonizers, and that sort of is what I was indoctrinated with via the US education system. But I've learned throughout my travels, I've spoken to Spaniards, I've spoken to Hispanic Americans who immigrated here. And this is truly one of the best places that has advanced socially. And then people here on the Spanish side, the pro-Hispanic people, historians, they will say that, well, Spain was the first one to introduce universities and hospitals and schools to the Americas in places like Lima and Bogota. So basically this whole mixture of colonization, of the mixture of races and cultures, is something that's not black and white. And I've learned that, you know, you probably shouldn't study at the US university system to learn about this type of history without coming here first, without going to Latin Americas and speaking with different people and learning Spanish. So that's what my channel's been all about. And I just love coming to places like this to see this layered history and sort of, it's like a full circle learning lesson. And I'm glad that you guys joined me along the road. So yeah, our journey's almost done here. We have one more stop, and it's a very, very famous city. It was basically the richest place in Spain at one time. So on we go, leaving the beautiful land of Extremadura. It's time we say goodbye to, we put the name Isabella for the beautiful blue
Opel Zafira, seven-seater, 7 seats.
And so anyways, if it weren't for Toby, this Anglo-Spanish adventure wouldn't have been possible, because
have a little look at all this stuff in here, right? You've got all this stuff that I'm taking back to England, including an English policeman's helmet. Hello, hello, hello. What's going on here then? I couldn't resist it.
That's actually a cover for the contraband. Toby, thank you very much.
All right.
It was fun.
Take care.
Wish me luck in the Americas.
Yeah.
And
in Morocco.
Yeah.
And I'll be following on everything you do. Every step you take, every move you make. I'll be watching you.
There you go. All right then, we've reached the banks of the Guadalquivir River and everyone's favorite Spanish city, Seville. What a journey it was, from the County Sligo, the coast of County Sligo, to Devon County, to the coast of Santander, to the landlocked area of León, to the conquering city of Trujillo, to marvelous Medellin. We're gonna end our journey here, and I just want you to think, in the mid-16th century, this was a city teeming with wealth. So much gold was coming in from the Americas, and they built this city and it flourished because it was landlocked, and those pesky British pirates couldn't get up the river like they could get to Cadiz. And it just makes you wonder, what if the Spanish Armada had succeeded? The world would have been different. Maybe Spanish would have been even more widely spoken. Nonetheless, it was a wonderful journey, and our two worlds, the English-speaking world and the Spanish-speaking world, are intertwined and contradicting, similar, yet different. And so I love being a part of it. Special thanks to Toby. Check out his channel. I'm exhausted, guys. I wish I could have gone further, down to perhaps Palos de la Frontera, where the ships took off from, the first 3 ships, the Niña, La Pinta, y La Santa Maria. But alas, we end our journey here. I've been on the road for over a month, and I still have more travels to do here in the month of October. We're going on a new massive journey. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you do want to support me, check the Patreon. And yeah, guys, what can I say? I'm blessed. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys from Seville, Spain.